watch a lot of true crime documentaries and series and stuff, and I like to watch the ones that, as best as possible, don't involve murder, because genuinely I'll be like, oh, this is wild, but this is also very sad. So I like the ones where it's like a robbery. You know what I mean? I like when it's like a huge drug bust, something you can really sink your teeth into without being like, oh, there is a family to be sad for. You know what I mean? And what I love is the process of when the person is sure they're not going to talk. You know what I mean? They'll bring somebody in, and when the person gets brought in, some people really hang tough. Some people, you know, door slams behind them. I've never been to jail, but I hear the doors are heavy. Door slams behind them. They actually get more tough. They sit in an interrogation like, what? I'm not gonna tell you nothing. You want something out of me? You got the wrong one, okay? And then there's other people, that door slams, and as soon as it slams, they're like, listen, I wasn't there, all right? It was Robert, it was Terry, Robert and Terry, it was their plan anyway. If anything, I'm an innocent bystander. I was just in the car. Y'all know when y'all arrested us, I was in the back seat. That's for a reason. I wasn't even the getaway driver. I thought we were going to McDonald's. Like, just, there are some people who snitch so fast. Even the police can't write it down fast enough. Police are like, well, we got it on tape too, but yeah, this is too fast for the shorthand. Imagine you snitch so fast, you make a cop go, hold on. Take a breath. Because you never know who it's gonna be. There are some people who were, you know, whether it was gang activity, it's mob activity, there are people who were like the run of the litter, and they're the ones that actually hold out. They're like, I'm not telling you anything. I don't even think you have enough on me. Let's play, let's roll the dice. And then there are people, no matter how tatted up, no matter how affiliated, it might even run in the family. They might be somebody who is third generation, but they don't wanna be in prison. They don't wanna be in jail. And so as soon as they have the opportunity, they tell them everything. Things they didn't even ask. You see a lot of it, you know? Then you have people who at first don't tell. Then they're ready to talk after like a couple years. You know what I mean? After a couple years, you know, have enough mold on your sandwich that you're like, it's really not worth it. Like, nobody coming to visit me. Like, no. That's what makes me wonder what must be going through Ghislaine Maxwell's mind. You know what I mean? Look, I'm no legal expert, but I do find it wild that in this supposed cabal, this supposed billionaire ring of predators, that the only one you caught is the one you're ready to make a deal with. And a deal for what? You know what I mean? Exposing more names? Bringing other people down? Probably not. Probably just being bribed to not say the president's name. You know? And look, I could be wrong. I don't think I am. Because you've already seen Trump float the idea of pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell. We even know from old tapes they thought about pardoning her way back when she got sentenced. You know? And yeah, no, I agree. I'm not a fan of it. She's not here. I'm not a fan. The boo. this is somebody's essence being booed. Like, No, it is genuinely insane what's happening because, you know, Trump floated the pardon. He even was asked by the press if he would pardon Ghislaine Maxwell, and he goes, look, I could, but let's not talk about it right now. What an insane thing to say. You got asked a yes or no question, and you somehow answered worse than yes or no. I've never been doing a test and got a true false and put maybe. I don't know, you the teacher, you tell me. That's insane. Already floated a pardon in front of us, maybe to gauge our reaction. Maybe if there's not enough outrage, the pardon will go ahead. And then DOJ goes, have a conversation with Ghislaine Maxwell. And already, I think it was today, just today, she's been moved from the prison and she was in to a minimum security facility somewhere else. Thought we covered this. I too hope she can feel your booze. I hope booze work like laxatives, you know. Ghislaine Maxwell just sitting in jail right now. You know, booze don't travel that fast, and so it comes in waves out of nowhere. She's having a conversation. Oh yeah, Trump and Epstein were there. Ooh. That's my hope. No idea if that's the case. But, you know, you see this sort of thing happening. It feels insane. It feels insane to watch in real time. This is the only person, the one person that got caught, the one person that's being held accountable. And everybody's so obsessed with like the idea of a list or more people or whoever they want to be on the list being on the list that they forget that there were real people that deserve justice. And the idea that the only person that we've so far got might go free is it's unacceptable, you know? Because you see Trump floating, pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell, and I can't imagine what it must be like to be a Trump aide. Like your nose must bleed every day. It's like, yeah, I'm thinking of pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell, and the aide is like, what? I asked you what you want for breakfast. If anything, I think I am a little bit, I'm trying to figure out how to put this. I feel sorry for my friends who didn't see it coming because they still believed in like a system and they still believed in like laws and they believed that jail existed for like a reason, you know? And I am, I'm black. So I kind of saw a good portion of this coming. It's like, anyone who's genuinely shocked that Ghislaine Maxwell might get a pardon and that she's already been moved to a minimum security prison after being convicted, but then talking to the DOJ under like new light. Anyone who's surprised by that has never watched the first 48 before. And they think that people aren't going to see through it. You know, this is a lot like when you're in school and you didn't do your homework, but you remembered there was homework right as the teacher says, pass up the homework. And so you fighting. You've never worked a pencil harder. You fighting to get words on a page. It doesn't even make sense what you're saying. It's you going over the whole scarlet letter as fast as you can. And then you pass it up. Teacher collects all the papers, and you think, maybe I got away with it. All we had to do was 300 words, summarized in the last chapter of Scarlet Letter. I think I did it, pulled it off. Felt like 300, might have been 290. And then class is going on. Maybe you have to read while the teacher grades the homework, and then the teacher says your name. Calls you up to the front. You're like, okay, don't panic. Maybe I did a good job so fast she's impressed. That's a possibility. And then you walk up to the front, and the teacher's like, did you do this just now? And you don't know what to do. You're caught. You're caught. She caught you. But there's another part of you that's like, maybe if I die with the lie, she'll believe me. What? Just now? No, I did this at home. And she's like, you sure? You're like, uh-oh, she's on to me. Yes, I did this at home. And then she was like, oh, okay, great, that's good news. I was worried that you did it just now, which means you wouldn't have your math homework. And then you remember that this has been math class the entire time. That at least feels like what Trump is going through. Because if Trump was smart, he would have done all this stuff a long time ago when it could have maybe still been believable. But now, everybody sees through it. Oh, it's crazy. It's so crazy. And then, on top of that, this is already insane enough. Already, there's so many ties to Donald Trump, Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein, that even a pardon just feels like it would be happening in our faces, right? There's no misunderstanding about the conflict of interest. There's no misunderstanding about what her role is if she does testify in front of Congress or whoever. And there's no misunderstanding about what the quid pro quo is between the two of them. You know what I mean? And even in that moment, on top of all that, Donald Trump floats pardoning Diddy. And it's like, that one doesn't even have anything to do with you. I don't think. Don't you have enough to deal with? That's crazy. As someone who is not in jail, I'm sweating about everybody who's about to be out of jail. This is insane. So then already the public, especially by the media, somewhat potentially unintentional, but the media did a disservice to the public when it came to Diddy's trial, because there's a lot that we know of Diddy. There's a lot that we know that he did, that he's alleged to have done. And I think that the state put forward a remarkably bad case to try to lock Diddy up, because I think from the public's view, they see the trial and you see it through the lens that the media is selling. The media wants you to keep watching, they want you to tune in every day, and so they make it look like he's about to do 10,000 years, right? They really hype this thing up. They never really mention that all the while the trial is going on, pieces are getting dropped. left and right. Charges are getting dropped. There's things that the state is focusing on. There's things that the state is dropping. There's things that we understand that Diddy is at least allegedly done from all the documentaries that came out. You would think that Diddy was 16 OJs, the way that he had documentaries coming out about him every month. Everything Diddy ever did to anybody, they got their own documentary on Tubi, on HBO, on Hulu. Everywhere. Oh, he hung me out of a window. Like just nonstop stories, right? But it's important to remember what he's being charged with and what he's on trial for. So then things would even come up during the trial. Things that are illegal, that they were just talking about plainly, all to get to the thing he's actually being charged with. So as bad as this testimony sounds, and as many things that are going on, you have to remember these are not the things he's being charged with. And I think that media got carried away. I think the news got carried away because they finally had something juicy, something big, something that they knew was going to last for days, weeks, months, that wasn't the same old stuff, something that had a bunch of intrigue in it. Apparently there's all these tapes. Apparently he has all this blackmail on all of Hollywood. There's all these things that were supposed to be coming out during the trial, you know? And then the state supposedly makes their case. They read out the verdict. Everyone is sure that this man is about to do 10 million years. And then they read the first one, not guilty. And they start reading them, and there's 5 charges, and 3 of them not guilty. The 3 that carried the most weight, the 3 that had like a minimum 15, 20 years, you know? And then there's 2 misdemeanors. Those 2 misdemeanors he is found guilty of. The people are perplexed. How is he found guilty of these things that are at least tangentially related to the other charges that he hasn't been found guilty for? What's happening, right? And those charges, the things that he was convicted of, they don't carry some mandatory minimum. You know, he could get time served. He could get up to 10 years. He could still do 20 years. But it's not likely that he'll do 20 years because that is the most extreme of cases where you give people the maximum. And I even rewatched a little bit of the reading of the verdict, and I just thought to myself, could get time served. Why would you bother pardoning him? Like, he might already be walking out of jail that day. That's such a crazy thing to do. You don't have enough going on with everybody thinking you were like on an island 152 times or whatever. To be a Trump aide, you must need heart medication, because they already try to convince him, look, that looks bad if you just pardon Ghislaine out of nowhere after all this time and everything, after everything she knows and the pictures that y'all are in together, all the pictures that you're 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 in together, the other pictures that you're in together, the pictures that you're in together, all of the pictures that you're in together, plus, she did have 19 phone numbers for you. That's not a good look either. And then Trump says, I see what you're saying. I understand. All right, look, what we're gonna do, we do best, all right? Gonna run a little interference. We're gonna run a little distraction, okay? And we're also gonna pardon Sean Diddy Combs at the same time. Karen, press secretary, must be fighting demons. I can't imagine. Look, everyone, whether it's Kellyanne Conway, it's Sean Spicer, anyone who has had to represent the Trump administration, go out to the press and answer questions. Look, I understand they chose that job. I understand that they chose to be there. But to a degree, you do have to wonder what the conversation is like before they go out. When they get handed a binder, and at the last second, one of the aides says, and he gonna pardon Diddy. So, no matter who it was, whether it was Sarah Huckabee Sanders, anyone who has represented the administration on the news or in the press room or anything like that, there's at least been 1 or 2 days where they had a 1,000-yard stare because they were like, how am I gonna pull this together? Because look, things came out during Diddy's trial, things that made you think, of course, this jury is gonna find this man guilty. They have to look at everything that they've heard, but you gotta remember the things he was on trial for and the things that they heard didn't always line up. There was one day of testimony that truly blew me away in that case, and that's hard to say because plenty of those days were rough to listen to. But there is one day in particular that has stuck with me in a different way than the other days. It was the day that Kid Cudi testified. Now, famously, still somehow allegedly, Diddy supposedly blew up Kid Cudi's car. You're bringing the man who has his car blown up to testify. You would think that that'd be one of the charges. I've never blown up a car in my life. But if I was brought to court to sit and hear testimony of my crimes, I would imagine the car blowing up would be one of them listed. Anyway, they bring in Kid Cudi. Kid Cudi's testifying about the timeline when he dated Cassie, things that happened between him and Diddy. And then he describes a day that is truly harrowing. Kid Cudi is testifying that while he was gone, he was actually, I believe, spending some time with Cassie, that Diddy hears about the relationship, is very upset about it, and Diddy went to and broke into Kid Cudi's house, right? So already, Diddy in your home, that's terrifying. Diddy in your home is the devil's version of Elf on the Shelf. You don't know what he gonna do. You don't know where he gonna be. Woo. So Diddy was in his home. Now, I'm a little fuzzy on this part, but apparently, I believe at least, that it was Diddy's assistant that called Kid Cudi to let him know, hey, okay, ooh, how do I tell you this? There's no good way. Diddy in your house. He is all up in your house. I mean, I drove him. He made me. He's like, where you live? And I was like, and we went over to your house. And so he's in your house. I'm not now, I'm outside. You know, he told me to wait here. I don't know what he gonna do. And so, Kid Cudi rushes home. And not only is he rushing home, he actually, this is at least as I understand it, must have Diddy's number because they had a conversation. And he was like, yo, you in my house? You in my house? Bass in voice, ready to beat somebody down. You in my house? And apparently, Diddy very calmly said, yeah. Kid Cudi better than me. If it was me, I wouldn't have a home anymore. If it was me, I'd be like, all right, then you got it, then that's, I mean, if you're already there. Someone breaking and entering into your home and then calmly telling you they broke and entered into your home is more terrifying than I think y'all are giving it credit for. Because then Cuddy, apparently, according to testimony, was like, I'm headed there right now, like ready to really beat this dude down, right? And then Diddy said, okay, I'll be waiting for you. I wasn't in court. I had to read all this, and I haven't read a novel by Stephen King scarier than what I read between the two of them. Kid Cudi gets home, Diddy's gone. He walks into the house. Now, that's braver than me. I would assume he's already planted a bomb somewhere. But Kid Cudi walks into the house, is looking around, assessing the damage, and while Diddy was there, he put Kid Cudi's dog in the bathroom, then opened all his Christmas presents and left. That is so insane. We are dealing with pure evil. That is so insane. Open all his Christmas presents. How is he all at once one of the most menacing figures that hip hop has ever seen and a third grade bully? How is it possible that both of these characters hold the same space in the same body? Because that is so particularly evil. He said, I walked over, Christmas presents unwrapped. I opened the bathroom door, my dog confused. And why wouldn't the dog be confused? Let's, for a moment, if you will, put yourself in the dog's paws, all right? You're a dog. You a dog. You're a dog. And you're at home, chilling, as you should be. And then the door opens. Oh, Papa? No, it's not the owner that you love. It's Sean Diddy Combs. I don't know what type of dog Cudi has. I don't know if it's a Scooby-Doo type dog, but I imagine any dog would be like, ready? And then Diddy walks over to you confidently, like he knows you. And he puts you in the bathroom and you're like, okay, I guess that's the best possible outcome. Oh, wow, okay, oof. I thought something way worse was gonna happen. I'm not gonna lie to you. Wow, that's great. From what I've heard about you, the bathroom, man, I don't love it in here, but it's better than whatever you're about to do. And then Sean Diddy Combs opens all the Christmas presents and goes, well, my work is done here, and exits. This is how evil what he did is. He already messed up the call to the police. Because now you're going to call the police and have to explain to the police that the only thing that Diddy stole from you was wonder. Imagine that call to the police. You gotta call the police and tell them that Diddy, and the police are asking you very reasonable questions. They're over here like, is he still in the home? I don't know. Hopefully that would make this whole thing a bit more serious. Right now he's left it at hilarious, which is a sick thing to do. No, it's truly insane. Not even destroyed, unwrapped. I can't leave this alone until y'all recognize how dirty this is. Imagine. Lots of people here celebrate Christmas. Lots of people exchange Christmas gifts. Imagine if you came home and there just wasn't paper. And now everybody in the family either like happy or disappointed, or like, oh, you got me the Theragun that all right, we're like a couple months out, so can I have it now, I guess? Truly an evil man. And Trump is floating, pardoning Diddy. Even before, this was odd, even before this Epstein stuff popped up, Trump had floated the idea of pardoning Diddy mid-trial. And I was like, I didn't know they went together like that. That's weird. Imagine being a white man in your 80s and your favorite rapper is Diddy. No Raekwon, no Rakim, no Run DMC, Diddy. Okay. And even then he had floated the idea of pardoning Diddy. And who knows, maybe something happened. Maybe some money exchanged hands. Maybe somebody said something to somebody and started it in motion and everything. But I can tell you this, justice system aside, the only person working hard to make sure that Diddy doesn't get a pardon, it isn't the state. No. It's not like the DA or the lead prosecutor or anything like that. The person working their hardest to make sure that Diddy does not get a pardon, that he doesn't get released back into society is 50 Cent. 50 Cent was so excited when Diddy was arrested. There's a video. You could watch the video. It's about 8 seconds long, but it's very, very funny. And it is 50 Cent laughing in the car when I guess he heard the news that Diddy had been arrested. And this man is chuckling. The joy. The joy on this man's face. And then he's chuckling to himself and he goes, he gonna spend Christmas in jail. I've never hated anybody that much. That's so good. Oh, he gonna spend Christmas in jail. He was laughing hard. He was laughing the way that sitcoms used to make people laugh. Like, Christmas in jail. And so when 50 Cent heard that Donald Trump was floating pardon for Diddy, he went to work. He did what he does best. He trolled. 50 Cent just started posting everything bad that Diddy ever said about Donald Trump and tagging Donald Trump. man, is this your friend? I wouldn't do that if I was you, Mr. President. You won't believe what he said about you. Oh, no. No. No, Donald Trump, this is not one of your African Americans, okay? It's been tough. I've been trying to find, like, really, whether I'm reading or I'm watching, I've been trying to find pretty much any news story that isn't about Trump and Epstein, you know? And I came across one that genuinely shocked me in Florida. They, yeah. In Florida, the Tallahassee police arrested Chuck E. Cheese at Chuck E. Cheese. Apparently, Chucky had done some wire fraud. And so the Tallahassee police showed up to the Chuck E. Cheese. And they were ready to take him in, all right? Cuffs already out. And they arrested Chucky mid-birthday party. You couldn't wait an hour and a half? You know where he is. It's not like he's gonna get far in the costume. They arrested Chucky. Those poor kids. Imagine. Picture, if you will, being 6 years old and you're having a birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese because the economy is not doing great. But you're having a good time, you're enjoying it, you're like, cheese pizza, so they say. Delicious yum, right? You're just trying to put on a good face. You jump into the ball pit that is not nearly deep enough. The ball pit that is full of children under the balls because every kid thought it was the funniest thing in the world to pop up out of the balls, but that meant that the ball pit was actually a hard surface because it's made of bodies. You jump into the ball pit doing like a big old face plant thinking you're gonna slide down into the balls, and you just bang heads with another child. You get out of the ball pit concussed. Chucky offers you a flat Diet Coke. Look, there's a hierarchy to costumed mascots. Now, the most athletic are gonna go to teams. You ever been to a sports game and you see their mascot stretches before, they doing wild moves like You go to Disney, there's a lot of walking, but it's a lot of poise. It's a lot of like the stances, you know. You get somebody that's doing goofy, and they're really doing goofy. They got the, you know. Chucky. Chucky, as far as like costumed mascots go, Chucky doing a lot of the same. Trying to figure out how to put this. Chucky, the qualifications to be Chucky at Chuck E. Cheese are a lot like the qualifications to work at a Waffle House, okay? You're gonna get in the costume, they're gonna tell you, do your best, all right? Do your absolute best, and if somebody swing at you, you can swing back after they hit you the first time. You gotta let them get that first hit in. If you hit first, that's assault, all right? And you'll be fired. But look, if they put hands on you first, then hey, you gotta get it how you live and go ahead and swing on them. So imagine you're surprised when at your 6th-year birthday party, you're celebrating 6 years on this planet, and it hasn't been a great 6. You're a little too young to like remember COVID, but you know mom and dad are weird. You clapping with your friends. And Chucky's doing his thing, trying to like find the beat. And you're like, I think he doing something. I can't tell. And then the Tallahassee police walk in. And they cuff Chucky right there in front of you for wire fraud. Y'all couldn't wait. You know where he works. He wasn't gonna get away. No, we gotta cuff him right now in front of the children. Traumatize them. Nah, forget these kids. We gotta dish out justice real quick. Now the kids distraught. They over here. You know that? Okay, all right. I'm sorry. It's funny because it's like I can see the kids being like, what'd he do? What'd he do? You know that rumble in the throat when you really cry? There's a certain way you can cry when you're 6 that you never cry again. Like, this is like honestly, a 6-year-old will drop an ice cream and they'll be like, just mixing Disney voices, half Ursula, half Jafar. What'd he do? Let him go, he ain't did nothing. Kids out here vouching for him. He was here the whole time. Because you know that. You know, like when a kid cry long enough, they start coughing. When a kid get real upset and they full of mediocre pizza. Yo, free Chucky! Yo, free Chucky! Oh. Now you getting arrested at Chuck E. Cheese, they perp walking you slow just to embarrass you. Y'all really couldn't wait till he got out the costume too, because you know he can't walk fast with those feet. He still got the costume feet on and everything. So now they over here. They get Chucky outside, slam him up against that car. patting Chucky down. Why you need to pat Chucky down? That would be wild though if Chucky had like a full-on Glock on him. Like that would be crazy. If Chucky he doesn't care where he is. He could be at Chuck E. Cheese, he could be at the streets, he keep that thing on him. The thing that I think would have been probably the toughest for the police, because I personally read about this, I didn't see video, so I don't know if this happened or not. But it would be hard. It'd be very difficult to, you know, open up that car door, and when they walked him out, they did it in full costume, like the head was still on. Like, that's crazy. This is a personal vendetta now that you have with Charles Entertainment Cheese. That you couldn't at least take the head off in Chuck E. Cheese. Imagine they take the head off. I mean, I'm sure the kids would have been more upset. Oh! Chucky Black! I could have sworn. Anyway. Look, there's not full video that I saw. This is all what I've read, but it's gonna be hard to put your hand on the back of Chucky's head and get him in the car without it looking like police brutality. Because it's not gonna fit. The head is too big. So now you over here, watch your head. Kids at the glass of the door. You know how Chuck E. Cheese built. They at the glass like, no! They beating up Chucky. Police like, no, I'm not. I'm trying to get the head in. No, he won't fit. He can't even feel it like that. No, don't do that. Everybody start recording. Look what they doing to Chucky, y'all. And they take you down to the police station. Perp walking you. Downtown. Imagine if you got arrested that day. For possession of illicit substances. You know, it could be anything. It could be acid, it could be shrooms, it could be anything. And you got arrested for possession. You're not a dealer. They caught you doing essentially a victimless crime, trying to enjoy yourself, enjoy your Saturday. Maybe you don't have your life together. Maybe you're not invited to your kid's birthday party. And you get arrested, you're sitting downtown, waiting to be processed, and then Ayo. I know I got a right to remain silent. I know this may hurt me in court. But did a giant mouse just walk through here fully arrested? Oh, thank goodness. I thought I was still very high from drugs. It's insanity, you know what I mean? Now you gotta do everything. How you gonna take Chucky fingerprints? These aren't even functional. I don't know if they feet or hands, but they're not. mug shot too. Those mug shots are cold. They're just like, ready, face me. Turn. Turn. No. Now you gotta sit in holding. Imagine, all you did was get a little drunk. Maybe get into a fight at a bar, you sitting in the drunk tank, and the only other is Chucky a person? Nobody else in there but you and Chuck E. Cheese. And whether it's jail or a birthday, they never really gave, at least that I know of, Chucky a voice. Chucky was always silent. At every birthday party I had at Chuck E. Cheese, Chucky was silent. You know, do the... Imagine you sitting there with Chuck E. Cheese in jail. You're wondering how your life took this turn. You look over at Chucky, and Chucky mad. Chucky like, you know, I thought I had that wire fraud on lock. I'm wondering who snitched. I'm wondering what went wrong, yeah? You look over at Chucky, and Chucky's like, what you looking at, dog? You got a problem? But all you see is... Yo, you want step? I'm just saying that in this like kangaroo circus of a court and justice system where we know the government is playing in our face, playing with really dangerous people who have done terrible things. If you're gonna pardon Ghislaine Maxwell, if you're gonna pardon Diddy, then at least yo, free Chucky, all right? Denver, y'all been phenomenal. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all.
Okay, this is like a contentious thing. So just stick with me for a second because it's weird. It's weird that people are weird about it. Okay, so my friends are having kids, right? A lot of them are starting to have kids, so they're all having the conversation about like if they're gonna spank their kids, right? And people have very strong feelings either way. Some people think like, oh, you know, if it's rare and if it's warranted, then like a spanking here and there is not that bad. And then some people are like, no, this is full on abuse. This is like you're creating trauma and everything. And I'm not even telling anybody how to feel. Like I know that I was spanked when I was a kid, right? And it made sense that I was spanked because we were poor. Do you understand what I mean? Like, there was nothing to take away. You know? Like, there was a year that my mom and I shared a bedroom when I was a little kid. What was she gonna take away? The floor? It's like, rest of the month you float from now on. And if I catch you not floating, that's your ass, all right? Do you see what I mean? Because I was in a very weird position at one point because I didn't have much money, but I I got a scholarship, and my family pooled their money together to make the ends meet for me to go to this Catholic school, right? So I was a kid with no money going to school with kids with real money. Like money where they don't need to read. You know what I'm talking? You know that proper money that you can't mess up? You know that old money? And so, you know, I remember there was one time we were sitting around the lunch table, and and this one kid, I said something about my mom, you know, like spanking me for something, and we were still in junior high or whatever. So I was talking about a time from before, you know, and then this other kid was like, "Oh, don't worry about it, you know, my dad still spanks me, right?" And I was like, "Ooh." Tyler, you have a pool. That's abuse. Do you see what I mean? Because Tyler, you live in the guest house. I've been over. You live in the guest. There's things to take away. My mama doesn't have an option. Like, this is odd. Like, that's kind of how I feel about it. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong. I'm sure it's steeped in generational trauma. Like, I'm sure it is. I'm being sincere. I think that, you know, there's a thing where when you don't have means, right? When you don't have the extra time to think about the extra things, you don't think about the extra ways to, like, calm something. And I want to be clear, my mom had to spank me like a couple times in my entire life. So I'm not, you know, over here like my mama did what she had to do. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that genuinely, I think sometimes you see these different thought patterns because there are people who have the means and they have the access to things like, you know, like family therapy and stuff like that. And then there are other people that work 3 jobs as a single parent to make ends meet, so they have to get to it quick. You know what I mean? And that's not even me saying it's like right or I always agree, because I think that it's hard to gauge. It's got to be very hard to gauge with like there's a thin line between a spanking and a beating. You know what I mean? Because if you spank good enough, yeah, I mean, you gotta be real careful. Because if you've ever been spanking a kid and anybody yells, "You got him," you already went too far. Like, you know? But I don't know, I've thought about it a lot. Because, you know, I got into an intense argument with my friend who was basically like, it's abuse every time, no matter what, no matter the circumstance, right? And then I was giving them a circumstance of like, look, maybe this kid isn't talking back. Maybe this kid was bullying another kid. Maybe this kid hit another kid, right? So then maybe their parent was like, you actually put your hands on someone, you hurt them. And so I'm going to do this thing now, not to like punish you because I'm going to enjoy it, but to show you like this is the way that you feel is the way that they felt. And I'm someone who loves you. So the world out there, they don't know you. So they may not love you. So this is a lesson that you might learn eventually from someone who doesn't care about you at all. And that's how I posed it to him. And he wasn't hearing it. And I get it. Because, you know, everyone has their own experiences and stuff. But I feel like no matter your feelings on spanking, we've all met like a grown man that deserved to have their ass beat. And I think the thing for me is that could it have happened earlier? And I want to be clear here. I'm not like blanketing, co-signing anything. I'm asking questions genuinely. I'm asking questions because people are very split on it. You know what I mean? Like make some noise if you got spanked as a kid. Okay, so just roll with me here, right? So you got spanked as a kid. Now, make some noise if you spank your kid. But you see how some people are like, I got spanked and they really took their day out on me, so none of that for me. And then there are people that are like, I got spanked and I'm fine, and so I think I know how to gauge. So everybody has like vastly different approaches to it, you know? But once again, we've all met a dude who like, damn. He really probably had it coming sooner than today. But then how do you gauge that, you know? Because I get what some people are saying. Some people are like, look, this child is just trying to make their way, and they might not even respond to it the way. We're all individuals. So even though you have your kids and your kids have a part of you in them, they're still going to be different people. So then how do you make sure that this kid doesn't walk away with the worst lesson possible, the worst feeling possible from this thing that like worked out for you, but it might not work out for them? That's a scary thing, you know? Like, I used to be like very nervous about moving to New York, right? I moved to New York years ago, and I remember when I got to Brooklyn, I saw a fight when I got there, and these were two kind of big guys. One guy was like medium sized, bigger than me, and he was muscular, and he looked like he knew how to fight because he did all the stances. He knew where to put his shoulders, put his fists, he could kick. He's either trained MMA and boxing or he's watched all the movies. Like this guy really knows how to move, right? And then the big guy was just a big guy. Like he was that, you know, that type of big where you can't tell if it's fat or muscle? You just know it's in the way, right? You know that he can move things where he wants them to go. Just a big guy, right? And I don't know exactly what they were fighting about, but it felt like one of those fights. It felt like one of those fights where they really wanted to fight their dad. Have you ever been in a bar and then you see a fight like you can smell it brewing? And then you're also like, I think if you had like punched your dad years ago, none of this would be happening right now. Like you just had one good row with him, this would be a quiet evening, right? They were going at each other, and some of it was punching, some of it was kicking. Now the guy that was like on the bigger side and muscular, he really knew his way around. Like he was even like doing the hop of someone who knows how to fight. You know that little light foot hop where you're like, they're about to get into it, okay? And then there was one moment, because I walked out of this bar because I was doing a show, like a bar show with my friends, and then we were all walking out and we all saw this like happening. It would start on the sidewalk and it spilled into the street, and basically, you know, he's doing the hops and then he goes for a lunge. He goes for like this big punch, right? And when he goes for the big punch, the big dude moves out of the way and grabs his wrist. And they both look at it. They both look at like, he grabs his wrist and looks at it, and then he looks at it like, uh-oh. And then he grabs his wrist, and with his other hand, he grabs the back of the dude's belt, right? Pulls him forward, knocks the guy pretty much off balance, lets go of the wrist, passes the belt to his other hand, lifts him up, and then spanked him in public. And like, I had never seen somebody with a beard get spanked before. Like, and he's really like floating and everything. And this guy is like letting them have it, right? Like one after the other. This dude spanked him so much he took a break. There was one point where he was holding him suspended in the air by his belt, but also like... And then after like the 36th lick, lets go of the belt, dude drops to the ground. He gets up and he sort of limps off, a lot of expletives and stuff, but it's kind of done. And this guy goes back into the bar we were just in, because he wasn't watching the show. The show was in like a back room. This guy was just in the bar, and I had no idea like what the fight was about, because once again, we had already walked out and it was already happening. But he walked back in, and I'm like, I'm a curious duck. You know what I mean? Like, so I go back in after him, and I'm like, hey man, are you okay? Which is a weird thing to ask him, but it's like, are you okay? What was all that about? And then he turns to me and goes, I look like a lot of dudes' dads. Wow, sir. That's an interesting thing to figure out about yourself. Because dude was like 30, but he just had that dad head. Like he had the dad bod of being big, but he had like a dad, like he had a full beard with like this part right here was doing a little bit of like Vegeta action. Like it was coming back a little bit, and he looked like he could be a dad, right? And so he's like, no, I just look like a lot of dudes' dads. And I was like, wow, how'd you find that out? And he was like, oh yeah, you know, after the 4th or 5th fight, you start to put things together. And he told me that sometimes he goes to the bar with his friends, because his friends are with him and they don't help because they know he can handle himself. And so go to the bar with his friends, and you know, he's like, after a while I can just tell some guy starts looking at me and he's just giving me a look like you can tell he's a certain level of drunk, but he's looking at me like, huh? And then he comes and he starts jawing at me, and I can tell it's not about me because I was just sitting here. I wasn't doing anything. And then he wants to fight, and he either swings at me first or he says, let's go outside, but this happens pretty often. And I was like, wow, are you a dad though? And he was like, yeah. I was like, do you spank your kid? He was like, oh, no, I would never.